So good morning. I look funny without spectacles. Yeah, today I made up my mind not to wear them. They might look fad, but those who use spectacles just know how sometimes cumbersome they can be. Sometimes I wish I could just be like this, but that is it. I'm not in the habit of producing podcasts or audio stuff, but today allow me to write an open audio-visual letter to humanity. I am a systemic design thinker by profession, but today allow me just to be human enough. Allow me to be honest and to speak to humanity in a very open and honest way. We are no longer facing problems to do with thematic or sectoral problems or challenges. Today, humanity is facing a question of existence. Today, the challenges facing us are existential in nature. It's no longer a question of if humanity can cease to exist, but a question of when shall we cease to exist. And in this open letter to humanity, I want to draw humanity, those who are able, whether through the internet, whether through research, or even able to travel to a nation like Kenya, come and visit the national museums, a very rich heritage of anthropology, and you'll find there the remains of the earliest human occupier of this planet. I don't know, the Anthropus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, the remains are there. And those remains, scientific carbon dating places them millions of years old. And in those millions of years old age, anthropologists, historians tell us that they were primitive men. They were primitive men. Your ancestors were primitive men. They were hunters and gatherers. They walked naked. They had not discovered even fire. They slept in caves or in bushes or in forests. They had not even discovered the technology of sheltering themselves. Why am I going back all that way? I'm going back all that way because that same man is the person whose descendants we are. When you look at me, clad in this suit and polo shirt and all this technology, I look like very intelligent. And humanity has reached a point where we are portraying ourselves as super intelligent. In fact, we are portraying ourselves as the only intelligent creation on earth. And so over the space of those many millions of years, mankind has developed this uncanny capability to use or even misuse his brain to create some semblance of intelligence, which he calls super intelligence, and an intelligence that probably has worked in some format. And so along the way, from the Anthropus to Homo habilis to Homo erectus, down there, the human race has progressively developed his capacity to think and use his brain. brain. But I don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that humans' understanding of intelligence, or our created intelligence, let me call it created intelligence because it's a product of evolution over time. If you are to be scientific or historical, then our intelligence is a product of evolution. We have been evolving over time to be what we are today. That intelligence is what actually is the cause of our destruction. Our perception of intelligence is what is destroying us. I want to push you back to those millions of years ago. And I want to ask, when mankind was a hunter-gatherer, walking naked, not even having discovered fire, were there other creatures that were intelligent? Was man the only creature that was blessed with intelligence? Is intelligence the prerogative of man? It is not. It isn't. Mankind was a hunter-gatherer. He gathered grabs of termites. The termites were there. The termites were there. Those small creatures that construct I don't know how to call it, that construct structures that baffle even our human intelligence. They were there. They were already constructing air-conditioned structures, those mounds. They were there. The leaf ants were there. They were already even farming fungi within their hives. The bees were there. Look at the technology of the bees. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that the honeycomb, the hexagonal, the uniformity of the hexagonal, those small units, the uniformity of it tells you that intelligence is not the prerogative of, it's not the preserve of the human race. But the human race, we have this uncanny, stupid feeling that we are the only intelligent beings. And I want to fast forward today on the reason why I'm writing this audio-visual open letter to humanity. Fast forward to today from the Anthropos time and Homo habilis time. Now we are here, super intelligent. Look around, technology, all over. Look at our structures. We no longer live in caves. We developed the capacity to build structures, very wonderful ones. We have even begun colonizing what was intelligent before us. The bees. Hey, these days we actually colonize them and we make them produce, in fact, honey for us, and then we process it with our intelligence. Industry, economics, make money, development. But if there is one very crystal clear indicator of let me use jargon. If there is one very clear, crystal clear evidence of the cantankerous epiphany of a misnomer that we have become as humanity, it's climate change. Climate change is the evidence of just how dysfunctional humanity's intelligence is. If intelligence was to be measured in terms of dysfunctionality, then the human race is at the apex. If intelligence can be measured by what human beings would like us to understand it, in terms of the dysfunctionality of your ability to exploit and destroy your environment and even destroy yourselves, then humanity will be at the apex. But you're not. Nature has tried to speak to us countless times about the dysfunctionality of our thinking, but we never listen. We are forever in a quest chasing the wind, chasing an image, a vanishing image that is never attained, in the name of more prosperity, more sophistication, more super intelligence, a vanishing point that you will never attain. Climate change is the evidence of the dysfunctionality of your own economic systems. An economic model that is founded on extraction, use, discard. And that's what we call intelligence. That's why all these things, Kyoto Protocol, name it, COP29, 26, name all this stuff, they'll never work. Because the human mind is purposed on self-destruction. The human intelligence is purposed on nothing short of exploiting anything that comes across sight. In fact, the word that we use is exploit resources, exploit this, exploit, and that's true. That is true in every sense. The human intelligence is functions on the level of extraction, use, discard. Extract, misuse, use, discard. Regardless of even of destroying its own environment. You don't need rocket science to know that if you cut trees, then you are destroying the source of your oxygen. You don't need, there is no machine, there is no technology that will ever replace trees. Try to use economic jargon, try to use whatever English you want to use, but you will never replace the technology of a tree. You'll never replace the technology of the oceans. You call it carbon sink, all right, but you'll never replace it. We are forever talking about sustainable development, and I keep asking myself, what are you sustaining? What are we sustaining? What is there to sustain? When every day, every hour, every minute, we are very busy using our brain power to destroy the same things that are supposed to sustain us. Listen to me, humanity. You are not intelligent. You are the most stupid. You are the most stupid and foolish race that ever. You are the most stupid and foolish specimen that ever existed. And placed you side by side with a bee. You don't compete in intelligence. You don't compete in intelligence. You don't. Side by side with an ant, you don't compete. You only compete because you are self-destructive. They are not. You compete because you fight against yourself. They don't. Their unity is unquestionable. They work as one, not only for their own survival, but for the survival of the. In fact, the focus of these creatures is not themselves. They are forever, taking care of the queen who lays the eggs. They are forever obsessed with the survival of the whole species. We are forever obsessed with the destruction of our own selves. There is no amount of English, grammar, technical or plain, that's going to help you humanity until you come to this understanding that your intelligence is dysfunctional. And what you call this intelligence, it does not matter. You have 17 PhDs, 9 masters. Try to give it a name. It is still dysfunctional. It will only be functional the day you begin to sustain and to preserve your own existence. What is wrong with the species working towards sustaining its own existence? I mean, this one is a fallacy. I mean, you tell me, it's a fallacy. How do we claim and pose it to be the most intelligent creature? But everything we do is self-destructive in nature. all you want is to destroy ourselves and then talk about a sustainable development, no poverty, zero poverty, affordable, all this nonsense. I call it nonsense because it's very good on paper, but impossible to work in reality. This is my parting shot. If the intelligence of the human race is going to be functional, then the measure of the functionality of your intelligence will be measured by how efficient you become in crafting your own survival. If you cannot craft your own survival, then I won't say you are not intelligent because you want to be called, you want to be told you are intelligent. But I'll say that your intelligence remains dysfunctional. And the only day that you will compete with the bees and the ants and nature is the day you outwit them in survival. And let me tell you something, because climate change is here to stay. As long as the dysfunctionality of the human mind continues the way on the trajectory that it is on, climate change is here, and destruction is. It's not a question of when shall we cease to exist. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And I hear climate change, uh, I hear those people are against climate change. They, oh, climate change is a hoax. Look at this now. Look at this. It's a hoax. It's not a hoax. Climate change is here, and it's here to stay. And climate change will teach humanity that your intelligence is dysfunctional. So it doesn't matter you are a superpower, you have all this GDP, I don't know what. Use all those metrics that you use to calculate your productivity and your efficiency and your success and your prosperity. But I tell you this point blank, as long as humanity cannot come up with its own means of survival, with its own means of ensuring that her atmosphere that supports your existence is sustained, then whatever else you're doing is useless. And let me tell you something about nature. Archaeologists are discovering that the whole Amazon forest used to be one very huge civilization. We'll never know what happened. But there's something I know, that nature reclaimed that expansive place with a mighty Amazon forest. Nature is able to reclaim. It's only that it's kind of, wondering when will climate change finish its work so that it reclaims its space. So nature can reclaim. And I want to tell you that it only needs 500 years with no human being on planet Earth for nature to reclaim. Nairobi will become Nairobi National. What was national park environment, for example, in this country, Kenya, it will come back very fast. It will come back very fast. Nature is able to reclaim its space. So don't think that you are exploiting nature and misusing nature, and you think that, oh, I'm sorry, you are sorry, we are destroying ecosystems, blah 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 blah. Forget about it. The day you become extinct, in less than 500 years, nature will claim back its space very fast, very well. And if you don't believe me, go to those abandoned cities, abandoned houses, and you'll see nature coming back. The trees, the shrubs, they come back. They come to occupy back their space. My parting shot. Today I did not speak as a systemic design thinker or a preacher on the other side, a minister of the word of God on the side. I spoke plainly. Humanity, your intelligence is dysfunctional. And the only way to prove to me and to prove to nature that our intelligence is not dysfunctional, then why don't we use our intelligence to do things that will sustain the planet? If the planet called Earth is home, then the only way to prove to everybody, to nature, and even to God, that our intelligence is not dysfunctional. It's the day we begin to seriously consider things that will safeguard the preservation of this planet in its entirety. I don't want to go to economics or systemic change. That will become very technically confusing here. But I've told you the day that the human race accepts that this planet is called home and that we can learn from nature. Nature too uses its own natural resources without misusing it. Yes, you are not the only users of nature. No, no. There are 1,000,001 creatures out there utilizing the same resources as you, but they don't do it the way we do it. We do it in a very pathetic manner. And I repeat, climate change is an indictment against the dysfunctionality of your thinking. And you will forget everything I've spoken. Just remember this as a parting shot from me as a systemic design thinker. I'm working with systems. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. You keep going round and round in circles, speaking the same things, planning the same things, doing the same things, year in, year out. I'm growing in this conversation, no change. This is my parting shot. That as long as we continue doing things the way we are doing them, as a race, as a human race, our intelligence is dysfunctional. I'm sorry. And it will remain dysfunctional until the day we come up and agree that all these things you said, Kyoto Protocol, all this blah, 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 all the way to COP20, all those COPs, COP26, all those COPs, you came up with the resolutions. It won't be difficult for a race that decides, hey, it's time for us to survive and to live. But if you don't do that, then nature will keep laughing at us. It's only that we don't hear. Sometimes you hear the birds, people assume that birds they are not singing. They're laughing at you. I used to think that when I wake up early in the morning, the birds they are not singing. Birds wake up to laugh at you. To laugh at, look at this dysfunctional creature. Why is he destroying himself? Why are they destroying themselves? And then we are here talking about conservation. We are conserving, we think we are conserving their ecosystems and preserving them from extinction. And they wake up and laugh at us. What is wrong with these people? Why are they forever, day and night, working towards destroying themselves? Please, when you get this audio, visual, open letter to humanity, share it as widely as you can. And I won't do another one like this. I don't do this stuff. I talk. I do physical talks. But today I felt it in my spirit. I was here, studying, going through the technical stuff, and then I asked myself, what is this? What is this? What is wrong with humanity? So please share. And sorry for our dysfunctionality. I just hope that this dysfunctionality is not going to destroy us. So have a blessed day and have a good day.